Hi everyone. I hope you've had a great start to 2026 and welcome back to my channel. So today I'm going to be talking about the ethics of AI and just giving you some highlights of a webinar that I delivered for the IB last year, not too long ago. So if you want to hear about some of the highlights that I discussed in terms of ethical AI use, and I have some examples for the mathematics classroom, then please keep on watching. And so I started off the webinar with actually something that the IB released. Be a content creator, not a content imitator. Academic integrity is a responsibility of the whole IB community, right? So we want to make sure that we're encouraging our students as well as teachers to be content creators. And so the actual webinar that I gave last year for the IB was to do with mathematics, but I think you can apply that to all subject areas. And for mathematics, I said it means students should be solving problems, developing understanding authentically, and not just using reasoning tools, AI tools, just to get answers, because that focuses then on the artifact at the end or just the answer rather than emphasizing the importance of the process and the learning process. So this framing is really powerful because we want to frame any message to our students and to our faculty from a positive and aspirational standpoint rather than just instilling fear. And then some other points that I talked about. So in addition to not using fear-based methods when we're trying to use AI ethically. Academic integrity, it's not just about punishment, right? Let's start from a positive standpoint. It's about developing principled learners who take pride in authentic work. And that is one of the IB learner profile attributes, to be principled. And so in mathematics, what does that mean? So I think that if we encourage conceptual understanding with our students, that's in any subject area, and this example is about maths, then I think that students then will not be tempted to just find the answers, because we want to encourage students to fully understand, on a conceptual level, so that they're not just memorizing facts and that they're using AI to augment their learning rather than substituting their learning. And once students understand what they're doing, I think that they will be able to, I think they'll be encouraged to use AI tools in a more ethical way because they already understand how to use a tool. They understand, first of all, the mathematics, so they're not going to be copying the answers. And secondly, they're going to be discerning in terms of the output of an AI tool, because we know that AI tools confabulate and they're not always right in what they say. It's not factual. All of the outputs are based on algorithms and probabilities. Now, secondly, I think academic integrity also will be encouraged if there is clear reasoning. So that's focusing on the process, right? So helping our students to focus on the process and the value of learning in their journey, articulating mathematical thoughts and reasoning effectively during that. So not just focusing on the end, the destination, but focusing on the journey of learning. I think also we're going to encourage our students for source acknowledgement, recognizing and citing sources of mathematical inspiration. I think that encourages academic integrity with our students. And also just generally ethical tool use, employing mathematical tools responsibly for learning. So if you are going to get an answer, can you give a rationale and a reason whether this answer is actually true or not? And I know that the reasoning models are getting better, but we still want our students to be able to discern the answers, whether they're right or not, and also look at the steps, right? Look at the process of how a particular problem is solved. Okay, in the webinar, I also talked about defining different cases of misconduct. So plagiarism is the one that I think we're all very much used to, using someone else's ideas without proper acknowledgement. And then I've talked about mathematics specific examples. You're using formulae, models, solutions from online sources without citation. And in particular, for your internal assessments or any kind of personal project, we need to be encouraging our students to not copy and paste other people's ideas, but to, rephrase those ideas and then give a citation, give credit to where those ideas came from. Collusion is different to collaboration, supporting malpractice by another candidate. So if you even allow your work to be copied and submitted for assessment by another, that is collusion. It's not collaboration. So helping our students understand the difference between this. And then we've got duplication, which is just submitting the same work for different subject components, different subject areas or different assessment components in the IB diploma or in any program. Now, there is this problem of fabrication of data. So, whether you're inventing or altering data for your assessments to get the result that you want, we need to be really careful, particularly in statistics and experimental mathematics, that we're not inventing or altering the data. Or we're also checking the data. So let's say that we do use an AI tool for some data analysis. We actually do need to be checking that the output and the analysis is not confabulating different recommendations or themes, and we need to be double checking that. And then, of course, it's misuse of AI tools, which I think is separate because you're actually submitting AI generated work as your own. And you're using the technology to avoid actually learning and understanding the mathematics or the content area. Okay, so here are my top 10 tips here for acting with integrity. And this has been created with the IB's official checklist and their recommendations for IB for AI use. First of all, number one, give credit. Make sure that you acknowledge sources to avoid plagiarism. Understand collaboration. Know the boundaries of group work. Like you may be able to do some group work and perhaps collect some of the same data, but all of your investigations from that data needs to be very different. So really understanding what the difference between collusion and collaboration is. Ask questions if you're in doubt. Clarify doubts to ensure you're understanding. Encourage our students to ask rather than the AI tool used to be this secret, hidden approach that students don't want to be upfront about. So encourage students to ask questions, ask students to reflect on their choices, evaluate actions to improve their integrity, teach students about academic integrity and the importance of making the right choices in this case. No policy. So familiarize yourself with school rules and hopefully your school has some kind of guidance and policy when it comes to AI use. Keep records, maintain original notes for verification. So remember, we're focusing on the learning journey of students. So that means that you'll be tracking that journey through some kind of record keeping, whether it's students handing something in after each lesson or after each block of learning. Use technology responsibly. So avoid cheating with digital tools. Understand the consequences, so be aware of penalties for dishonesty. So while we don't want to come from a punishment standpoint or a negative standpoint with students, we want to encourage academic integrity. There needs to be some consequences so that students understand. One of the consequences could be that students will just not be able to sit the diploma examinations because if they don't understand the work and they've used AI tools as a shortcut, they're not going to be able to apply and transfer their understanding to different situations. Develop habits. Build a foundation of ethical behavior. That means as a teacher, modeling ethical behavior so that students know what that looks like. And then again, seek help, which is like asking questions. Don't hesitate to seek assistance. Okay, so they were just a few highlights from the academic integrity webinar that I delivered with the wonderful Taylin last year, just focusing a little bit about the difference between plagiarism, collusion, and misuse of AI tools, and then some tips to help students and to help you as well try and navigate this ever-changing world. I really think it's so important that we don't go down the line of AI detectors. And we actually had a wonderful discussion during this webinar about how AI detectors are not accurate. They actually predict too many false positives, which means that you're actually accusing innocent students of plagiarism. So don't go down the road of AI detectors. Really get to know your students. And someone that attended the webinar, Lorraine Heinrich, big shout out to you. She said something so profound. She said, the best AI detectors are human detectors. That's us teachers. That means knowing students. That means valuing the process. And that means teaching our students about ethical AI use. So thank you so much for joining me this week. Please feel free to put any comments in the section below. And I look forward to seeing you next time. Have a wonderful 2026. Bye.